Imagine being born into unimaginable luxury, silk curtains, golden walls, servants at your command. But the doors are locked, the windows are sealed, and you are never allowed to leave. For over 500 years, across empires and kingdoms, a chilling practice existed behind palace walls, a system historians later called royal confinement. It was hidden, it was censored, and for centuries, no one outside the palace dared speak about it. Tonight, we uncover the truth. Royal confinement wasn't a single law. It wasn't written in one royal decree. It was a pattern repeated across kingdoms. In courts like the Ottoman Empire, the imperial palace operated under strict separation. Women of the court lived inside the guarded quarters known as the harem within the vast Topkapi Palace. In Ming and Qing China, imperial women lived behind the walls of the Forbidden City, a palace complex so large, yet so restrictive, that many never stepped beyond its gates. In Russia, royal women lived under strict seclusion in the harem, especially before reforms under Peter the Great began altering court customs. These were not prisons, but they were not freedom either. They were gilded cages. From the outside, these spaces looked magnificent. Marble fountains, silk carpets, gold-inlaid doors, but luxury masked isolation. In the Ottoman court, access to the outside world was tightly controlled. Messages passed through layers of officials. Movement required permission. Surveillance was constant. Inside the Forbidden City, thousands lived, yet loneliness was common. Imperial women were often separated from their own families forever once they entered palace life. In Russia's harem system, noble women were physically separated from male society outside their family. The justification? Protection. Honor. Tradition. But beneath those words was something else. Control. Royal confinement wasn't just about isolation. It created intense internal competition. Within the Ottoman palace, the mother of the reigning sultan, the Valide Sultan, could wield enormous influence. Figures like Kozum Sultan and Hurrem Sultan shaped imperial politics from within palace walls. In China, powerful empresses like Empress Dowager Cixi rose from within the inner court to dominate the empire itself. But for every woman who gained influence, hundreds faded into obscurity. Some never saw the emperor again after their first audience. Some spent decades in silent waiting. Some were moved, demoted, or quietly removed from favor. The walls that confined them also intensified rivalry. When your entire world is one palace, politics becomes survival. Imagine entering palace life as a teenager. Your family gone, your future uncertain, your movements monitored. Historical records hint at depression, anxiety, paranoia, though rarely described in modern terms. In the Forbidden City, diaries speak of endless routines. In Ottoman records, whispers of intrigue and fear. In Russian chronicles, accounts of women yearning for change before Peter the Great ended strict seclusion customs. Royal confinement created a paradox. You were elevated above society, yet removed from it entirely. Isolation doesn't need chains to be powerful. So why was this hidden for centuries? Because monarchies depended on image. Royal families symbolized divine order, moral superiority, and stability. Admitting that palace life could resemble confinement would crack that image. Chroniclers often glorified court life. Pain was edited out. Restrictions were reframed as privilege. In some cases, documents were destroyed. In others, stories were romanticized into legends of elegance and romance. The reality was more complex. Not constant suffering, not constant luxury, but a system built on hierarchy, separation, and absolute control. Reforms under Peter the Great opened Russian noblewomen to public life. The fall of Imperial China in 1912 ended the isolation of the Forbidden City's inner court. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire dismantled the palace structure that had defined its inner world. As empires faded, so did institutional confinement. But echoes remain. Even today, discussions about power, isolation, and control often mirror those old systems. History doesn't vanish. It evolves. Royal confinement wasn't a dungeon. It wasn't always cruelty. It was something more complicated. A system wrapped in silk and gold. For 500 years, it remained behind closed doors. Now we can look inside and ask a difficult question. When does protection become imprisonment? When does privilege become isolation? If the story changed the way you see royal history, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Would you choose palace life if it meant never leaving? Until next time, keep uncovering the whispers of the past.